Hello, the internet. Welcome on Professional Movie Reviews. My name is Mark, and I'll be reviewing Purge election year. I got the piece of paper right here. Purge election year. Boom. So I watched this a couple hours ago. Had to do a little bit of errands before I can review it. But all right, here we go. Gonna review it. The way this works is I'm going to ask you to click like and subscribe and do all that internet bullshit. Share it, comment, whatever. Click dislike if you dislike it. Feedback is feedback, and negative feedback is still feedback. So, good. All right, cool. Now that's out of the way this works is I'm going to tell you a quick little synopsis about Purge Election Year, which is the third movie in the Purge franchise. And then I'm going to give you negatives or positives about the film, negatives about the film, and then a rating between 0 and 10. All right, let's get started. Election Year is the third installment of the Purge movies. The first one was like a really not that good slasher movie. The second one was like a super violent action movie that I kind of really liked. I should say. It has a lot of the same problems this one does. The second one did. And then this one is kind of another action movie. So what it is the annual Purge is something that the new founding fathers installed when their regime came into power. And so people are allowed to kill or do whatever they want for 12 hours. And it supposedly helps the economy. All right, that's what it is. So election year is about a woman who 18 years ago was a victim in that, and then now is a senator, and she's running for president, and she's running on the I'm going to get rid of the Purge platform. And then Frank Grillo's character from the last one is like the head of her security. So it's her trying to survive the Purge. Okay, that's what it's about. It's okay. It's an alright movie. If this is your thing, which it should be my thing, but it isn't actually. Well, this movie, or I'll get to that. If this is your thing, you'll like it. So I'll just get into the positives. Positives, Frank Grillo is good as he was on the last one. I do like... And I'll talk about this in my negatives too. I do like the world that they set up for the Purge. I like this idea. And that's it. I've always liked that. It's a very interesting scenario of crime is legal for 24 hours. I'll bring this up again in my positives. The reason why this is an okay movie is it delivers with the violence. The violence happens on screen, and it's exactly what you want. It's very political, if that's what you want to get into, and I don't have a lot of really positives to say, but I'm giving this a higher rating than it sounds when I have a lot of negatives. And it's just because the negatives I have don't destroy this film. They don't. They don't make this a bad movie, but they definitely are negatives, especially if we're looking at it with a critical eye, which I try to do with my good eye. I try to look at it with a critical eye. Let's just leave it at that. Frank Grillo is really good, and if you like the other Purge movies, this will get you exactly what you want. Moving on to negatives. The biggest negative I have is tied between the script, which is shit. It's garbage. It helps the story go along, but people don't talk the way a lot of these people do. It's just very poorly written. Everyone seems very wooden. Most performances, other than Frank Grillo, are bad. There are not a lot of good actors in this movie, and a lot of them are just really, especially the main senator. I'm not even going to look up her name. The senator he's trying to protect was very lacking in I didn't care about her. I just didn't, and it was because of her acting skills. The whole movie's about protecting her, and I don't really give a shit about this person. I just don't, because she doesn't do anything, and it's partly the acting and partly the script. Now, the biggest negative I personally have, and you might not notice this if you go see this movie, it might not be something you look for, but the cinematography is just shit. And this is the bad part. It's not shit because the guy didn't know how to make a good movie. It's 100% his style. The directing style, the cinematographer style, and director of photography, all of them, all those three bastards, the style that they like are these super, every shot's this close up. It's like this the whole movie. Somebody's like, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, da-da-da, oh yeah, no, and it's super close up the whole time. I'm sorry I did that, but yeah, that's what it's super cutty, and everything's just up and up and up, and then you get these slow motion. A lot of it's filmed like a Michael Bay movie, and I believe he's a producer. It makes sense, because every chance you get to for a girl's butt to be in the middle, you'll see a girl's butt in the middle, and there's a lot of slow motion. A lot of it's filmed like a music video. And these scenes that should seem really terrifying are like slow motion and like glamorized, and I realize that's the style they're going for, but it's fucking annoying. I don't like it. Maybe you like it, but this is where it actually comes away from personal preference, and into actually aesthetically, like, it makes it illegible and hard to realize what's going on because of the way that this is directed, because of all the close-ups and all the cuts, especially during the action. The action was decent, and that's a positive I should have brought up. There was actually one scene, and let me put a pause on my negatives. I got one more positive. Sorry. There was one scene where a chick gets out of a car, and she just has a shotgun, and she shoots a motherfucker down, and then somebody gets up and she shoots that down. It was filmed like over her shoulder, and there was no cuts. If the rest of the action was as good as that, like 35 seconds, this would have been a much better movie. But the action was super clippy, and it was hard to tell what's going on, and because this is such a heavy action film, pivotal moments happened during the action. So it was hard to realize what the pivotal moments are. Like, there's a scene where a very important character just, like, gets snatched up by somebody during the action, and I didn't actually realize what was going on until after they were already chasing after this person, and I was like, oh, did that happen? I can't tell because it's so edited and cut to shit, and it's hard to tell. And I already stated this, but what pisses me off is that the cinematography, the directing style wasn't like this because these guys don't know what they're doing. It's because they made this conscious decision to be so stylized that it fucked with the actual art. So that's my biggest negative. And there's a lot of negatives. And then I don't want to get heavy into politics because I never like talking about politics at all. I'm a political guy in my own life, but I'm not going to bring them up. This is not why you guys click this. But this is an extremely political movie, and it definitely leans one side than any other side. It screams for this one side. It's very left, which is cool if that's your style. If you want to make a political movie, I'm down. And if you want to make a big political statement, be it right side or left side, I'm in. But be subtle about it. This movie's political views are about as subtle as a brick to the fucking head. You have people dressed up as, of American people like Uncle Sam and Abraham Lincoln, killing people, screaming like, "For America!" Come on, especially during the election that we're going through, you might as well have replaced every single bad guy with Donald Trump because that's what they were getting at. And it is not subtle. That would have been the only way for them to be more blunt about it, is if it was like, oh, by the way, everyone's secretly Donald Trump. That would be the only where I was like, okay, now that's even more blunt about it. And I'm not saying I hate it because it's left. No. It could be left, it could be right, it could be whatever, it could be, I don't care what your political view is. What I'm hating it for is its lack of subtlety in its symbolism. If you're going to be symbolic, hide it more. Be more like a razor and an apple That's not what this is. This is a gun in your face subtle. And I want my political subtlety to be, or political symbolism to be hidden until it hits me, like a razor and an apple. That got violent, but it was a violent movie, so I'm a little violent right now. Sorry. And that's kind of it. I feel like I really wanted to talk about the negatives that I jumped right over the positives. There are positives in this movie. The violence is violent when you want it. And there's definitely other cool things about this movie. Now let's talk about the biggest problem I've had with this franchise as a whole, and I thought that they could solve it. I want to know why the only thing people do in these purges is murder. That's literally the only thing people do. There's a huge storyline about protecting this dude's deli because he loses his insurance because insurance companies are evil. And he loses his Purge insurance, so he's going to protect his deli. Turns out there are no looters, and they don't even mention this. They don't be like, where are all the looters at? No one wants to rob during a purge, which is the only thing I'd ever fucking do during a purge. What they have to protect it against are people who try to break in to kill them. It's only murder. It's such a waste of potential. I want to know, are the bigger businesses succeeding because they have money to buy a small army to protect themselves from the looters that should exist, and that's why smaller businesses are failing? I mean, I want to know, bigger issues going on in this purge world that happens because of the purge. And people would be committing more crime. If the purge ever happened for me, I would go steal 3 deep freezers and fill them full of food and not have to buy food for a year. I wouldn't be out murdering people. I want to have a mask on and just macheteing homeless people like you see. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be out there. People would definitely be doing that. But I'm just saying there would definitely be people robbing stuff too. And that's a problem I've had with all Purge films, and they've not fixed that yet. Alright, I've ranted for a while. Yeah, let's get on to my rating. So, ratings. As I said, the reason it sounds like I hated this film, but I feel like most people won't really see the negatives I saw. And I feel like it holds up for the Purge franchise if this is what you want. And honestly, I don't mind the second and the third one. I will watch this again and enjoy it. There are things I like about this movie. So, I'm giving it 4.5 out of 10 waffles and pussy. Don't worry, that's brought up. I didn't just make that up. Waffles and pussy. 4.5 out of 10. Actually, you know what? Let's turn that. Let's go 3.5 out of 10. Because now that I'm starting to think about it, there isn't actually a lot of fun going on in this movie. It's a very dark, dry movie. I probably wouldn't want to watch this again. I would watch it again, but I don't think I'm going to go out and buy it. So, 3.5 out of 10 waffles and pussies. And there you go. Thank you for watching, Umar. I'm a little more jumbled because I had shit to do today. It's been a long day, so I apologize for that. That's what the beer's for. I'm going to go have beers. Celebrate 4th of July. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Blow stuff up if fireworks are illegal where you're at, or do it anyways. I don't know, man. And definitely drink beer and celebrate this awesome country. Okay, bye-bye!